What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now, Back to the Past. I'm Alex, and in this video, I want to take a look at Assassin's Creed Black Flag. So here's what we're going to do. In the summer of, I believe, 2022, I played Black Flag, and I actually did a kind of video essay thing on my main channel, Podcast Now. I feel like it deserves to be here. This is the retrospective channel, and because of Skull and Bones, I felt like it made a lot of sense to go back to what I think is the better game and the better even seafaring adventure game that Ubisoft had made. So let me just kind of, rant a couple seconds here on Skull and Bones. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to move that video over. And for anybody that didn't watch it on my main channel, it now will live on this channel, which I think is a better place for it. So Skull and Bones, to me, just a massive disappointment. I'm actually at a point with it where I just don't care. Like, I'm not actually even that mad. I watched an Angry Joe when he did the review of it just a few days ago, and I thought, wow, it was a good review, and I love the pirate sketches he did and all that jazz, but I was thinking, I played it, and I just kind of forgot about it immediately after. I don't know if it's an actual terrible game. It's just so forgettable to me. And also, it's more, if anything, frustrating of how they went, not them specifically, right, that studio, but how Ubisoft went from Black Flag and just that adventure, to then this. And the lack of almost anything in this game. That is the frustrating part to me, where even if you don't think it's a bad game, and that's totally fine, and there are people that are playing it, right? But even if you think it's fine, I think you would hopefully see that it's a huge backtrack, from Black Flag. So, like I said, I played Black Flag. I can still remember it now, and I freaking love the ship stuff. I remember loving it when I first played it back in the day with my cousin, and it holds up phenomenally well, at least a year and a half ago, and I had a blast with it. So I'm just going to segue in. You'll be watching the video that was on Podcast Now, but I hope you guys enjoy it, and I'll see you on the next one. Almost 9 years ago, Assassin's Creed Black Flag released to the world, coming off of the character arc of Desmond and really attempting to start the future of Assassin's Creed. This game, to this day, is one of the fans' favorite Assassin's Creed games. I've been told continuously how incredible the game is and how I need to give it a second chance. So that's what I did. I sat down, put 28 hours into this game, and I really liked it. My relationship with Assassin's Creed is quite unique and filled with ups and downs. I love the old games. 2 and Brotherhood vie for my favorite, but Assassin's Creed 3 really broke me when it released. I'll have to go back one day, but my fracture with Assassin's Creed really started there. And when Black Flag came out, I barely played it. And what I did play was mainly the ship stuff. That would actually be the last time I picked up an Assassin's Creed game until Origins released in 2017. Now, in just the past year, I went back, played all the way through Origins, and next up was Black Flag. I definitely didn't give it the credit it deserved. I have to start at the best part of the game, right? This game does ship battles as good as any. The waves, the water, the cannon fire, boarding ships, it all feels right. You could easily lose yourself for hours just sailing on the beautiful water they created, riding the waves, dealing with storms that look terrific, and battling other ships. The battles are ironically very simple. There's only 5 weapons your ship can use throughout the entire game, and I think that works for it. Positioning, matching the wind, sneaking up on ships, and more tactics get thrown in whenever you're battling, specifically the higher leveled man-of-war ships in the game. This is where I spent the majority of my time playing when the game released, and I did it again now. There are plenty of really good main missions as well that involve either sailing or objective-based ship sinking or boarding, but the special moments really just happen when you're free roaming. There's nothing quite like sailing into a gigantic storm, seeing rogue waves take out half of the fleet you were trying to sink. The water looks incredible, the waves and storms are epic, it's all so good. Then we have boarding, something Skull and Bones seems hellbent on ignoring. Black Flag has rock-solid sword combat, and that's in full display when you're boarding ships. Again, simple enough, there's never insane objectives to complete. They're all generally the same. Board by swinging across, kill an okay amount of soldiers, and call it a day. But it really feels authentic. It feels great to win an epic cannon fight and then activate the second stage, pulling up next to the ship, seeing the ropes swing across to bring the ships closer together, and then have you and your crew jump over and start attacking. It's awesome, even if it's a bit repetitive. I will say I still find the story of this game lackluster overall. It definitely picks up around sequence 6 or so, and so the second half of the game is a lot better, but to me it's not the game's strength. Still, seeing Blackbeard and having him as an ally is incredibly cool, and I'm very impressed with how they used him throughout the game. He has a presence to him every time he's on screen, and I gotta give them that. Outside the Animus, I have quite the opinion on as well, and that's that I actually liked it. Being the present day individual has always been a point of debate for the entire series. The originals, to many people, did it too much, and they just never had the same strength as playing as the historical assassin. But I feel newer ones, especially AC Origins, it's almost funny how little you're out of the Animus. It's like they knew people overall haven't liked it, so they take you out every couple hours for a 40-second cutscene and then put you back in. I think Black Flag is one of the better blends the series has ever had. Your character is kind of meaningless, you don't speak, and sitting here today, I can't tell you their name or even if they have a name, but you get pulled out every so often, not too much, but not too little, and the story going on outside the Animus is actually quite good. I like the mole on the inside angle, and I didn't know any spoilers going in, so playing through the twists of the story, seeing returning faces, all brand new to me. I didn't expect in the slightest to say these sequences are some of the better parts of the game, but here I am. The sword combat in Black Flag is also awesome, and that's as simple as I can get it. I will say, coming straight from Origins into Black Flag, the combat style definitely took some getting used to, but after a few fights I caught on. I have to say it's really refreshing to go back to a very simplified combat system. There's very few buttons you have to worry about, but there is some creativity in terms of different weapons you can use. The pistol is awesome and really makes you feel like a pirate, getting off a shot or two to save your crew or right as you're about to board. It went a long way to make me feel like I was in a Pirates of the Caribbean film. And then the actual sword fights are also really well done. The animations vary, and there's enough kill finishers to keep things fresh. And although visuals aren't perfect, and you can definitely tell it's aging, and it definitely feels like a combat system of another time, it was still awesome to jump back into. And once you get better, you can string together some kills one after another, and it all comes together. This is not a perfect game by any means. One thing I had to remind myself of was this was the age where the parkour still didn't register all that well. The frustration of wanting to jump one way only to go somewhere else was still very high. It upset me during that age in the first place of playing these Assassin's Creed games, and it definitely didn't go away. The visuals also are kind of lackluster throughout. Not saying all of it though. I think the water in this game is honestly spectacular. The waves, the lighting, the storms, and really anything to do with the ships themselves look really, really good. It's more of the finer details, swords not actually stabbing through enemies, faces lacking detail, etc. The story also takes a while to get going, along with even Edward as a character. While the second half of the game is better from a story perspective, and there are good characters throughout it, I would never say this is my favorite story in an Assassin's Creed game, or that Edward is my favorite character, although the outside the Animus story is a big improvement. There's also some datedness with some of the mission designs, for example, the eavesdropping ones right on countless targets as mission objectives. It's a rough around the edges kind of game, but a good amount of that comes from being in 2022. Anything visually I'd have given a pass to at the time is it matched up better back then. At the end of the day, I'm really happy I went back to Black Flag. It's a game I routinely see people talk about as either their favorite Assassin's Creed game or at least in the top 3. When I pitched an open world Pirates of the Caribbean RPG, Black Flag is a game people told me to look at as it was the one that did it best. And I never gave it a chance back in the day. Its biggest strength is anything regarding ships. It's when the game feels, looks, and acts its best. While the other mechanics overall are up and down with what Assassin's Creed dealt with at the time, but to imagine that the Assassin's Creed franchise would make me feel more like a pirate than any other game with the best ship combat I've seen yet, it's quite incredible when you actually think about it. It's not my favorite Assassin's Creed game, but it's definitely up there. It's the best Pirates game I've ever played, and it still holds up in its best features almost 10 years after it released.